So we're going to go ahead and get started here, but we have a award-winning video to start the afternoon. Welcome to the State of the School, and I want to give a round of applause for Alexandra Eldeblut, who did that wonderful, wonderful video. So this is my third annual State of the School, and I really want to take this opportunity to thank everyone in this room, all of the people on Zoom, our many faculty, students, and staff, and residents, and hospital partners who have made all of this possible. Today, we're really going to focus kind of on community, the community we have in the room, our regional community, our national community, and the way that UB not only gives to the community, but really is focused on having an impact in the community. So I'm reminded about our vision and mission. We really live into our values. I'm so proud to be part of this community in Western New York, and really speaks to what we want to do here at the Jacobs School. We've had an opportunity to speak with so many people who are really so pleased that the school is in the city of Buffalo and all of that we're doing in the city of Buffalo. So today we're going to review all of the amazing achievements that are so many here in this room and our big plans for the future. So I think what I want to leave you with, if there's one message, is that the Jacobs School is about transforming the health of Western New York, and we're going to do that with our community. It's really going to be about taking our educational research and clinical missions and our commitment to health equity and diversity with our newfound AI here at UB, and putting all that together so that we can really have an impact. And I think that is really the take-home message of this entire presentation. So I want to remind everyone that we started with our strategic plan 1 year ago. There are 100 people plus that have worked on this strategic plan, and we had a wonderful 1 year touch point a couple of weeks ago. I want to thank Sarah Augustinick for her amazing work in that. But this strategic plan is a living, breathing document. It's really designed to kind of set the guideposts for us as we live into the future. You can go ahead and click on the QR code and it'll give you all of the updates on the strategic plan. Much too much to go into here today, but it is again designed to focus on our pillars of education, research, clinical care, always, always with an eye towards diversity. Now, I think I would be remiss if I didn't talk about UB's historic hiring initiative. I know for everyone in this room, particularly the chairs have been here for some time, and I think this is the first time, 135 new faculty have been hired since July of 23. That's an amazing number. And I want to thank everyone who's been involved in all of this hiring, particularly the chairs who have really carried all of the work in finding great candidates and bringing them to UB. I also want to just recognize that not only are we hiring individuals who are in the basic science departments, but we're also hiring new clinicians. We brought 79 new clinicians into our practice plans. A big shout out also for Andrew Mannion, who's been really over the top in terms of hiring new primary care physicians, which you'll hear about more in a bit. These are just some of the new faculty that we've hired, and I know several of them have already either brought funding to UB or been successful with funding. Just last week, Dr. Rebecca Walker, who moved with Dr. Leonard Ageti, got an R01 funded. Remy Ogla has been tremendously successful. Dr. Peely brought Remy here, and there are many, many others. Over 12 of these new research faculties have brought over $17 million in NIH funding, which is just wonderful. Our goal is really to be 25 of public research institutions for research. I also want to welcome our new chairs. Dr. Leonard Ageti came from MCW, and he is an NIH-funded primary care internal medicine physician who's really focused on health equity. So he brought a group of 4 and transferred, I think it was 6 NIH grants, and is currently, his team is working on a $30 million PCORI. I also want to mention Benny Joyner, who is going to join us January 1, and Brian here. He's our new chair of anesthesia and is also holding multiple roles in the clinical world, particularly the Senior Associate Dean of Clinical Affairs. And then the big surprise guest today is Bill, who's over here, who doesn't start until December 1, but he made a surprise entrance. He's here getting himself settled in so he can hit the ground running, and he's our new chair of neurology. We're in the middle of the psychiatry chair search, and thank you to Brian Murray. Where is Brian? He's working somewhere. I saw him. There he is. Brian is chairing that search, and we have amazing candidates. And then John Panapinto is chairing the biochemistry search. So we have lots of things. We have many, many new developments and new leaders who are really bringing new talents to the Jacobs School. So Dr. Gustavo Arrizabalaga, he's somewhere here. There he is. So Gustavo joined us from my hometown, Indiana University School of Medicine, and he's been here about a month as Senior Associate Dean for Faculty Affairs, and already has amazing ideas about faculty development and is really bringing some energy into that, as well as faculty reviews and how we can do onboarding, and I'm sure he'll love to hear your ideas. We've also have Jennifer Surtees. Jennifer has taken on this role of Associate Dean for Undergraduate Education and STEM. I will just say, she's right here. She spoke to the Buffalo Billions campaign 2 Saturdays ago and talked about place in front of a couple hundred people. And she was amazing. And she talked about place and the fact that the medical school is home back in Buffalo. It was really amazing. And she and Dr. Panapinto did Interested Students Day on Saturday and really talked about the strength of the Jacobs School, not only in MD education, which is in David Milling's world, but really they focused upon bringing to light the undergraduate and master's and PhD strengths. And then, of course, Dr. Robert McCormick, who I can't count how many 7 a.m. meetings Rob has been on. Incredibly grateful. He's been the new Associate Dean for Ambulatory Strategy, and he's been leading UBMD. Thank you, Rob. Kara Kelly has a new position of Associate Dean for Pediatric and Translational Population Health Research, and she is with Mark Halterman in the Office of Research. And Les Bassan has taken on a role alongside Dr. McCormick to really focus on wellness. He's leading a significant part of UBMD as well. And then Alicia Kwiatkowski moved over from the Department of Internal Medicine, and she is in charge of the Phase 2 curriculum. So I want to thank all these new leaders. They have brought an energy and excitement to the school. I also want to thank everyone who's been so welcoming to them and to get them onboarded, and to the people who have opened their hearts and minds. It's funny, when I talked to a couple of them, they said, I kept saying Buffalo's a really friendly place. And then they say, you're right. Everybody in Buffalo is incredibly welcoming. They not only give you places to eat and things to do, but they're welcome their hearts and minds. So I think it's really one of our great strengths. I hope everyone got a copy of the UB Medicine magazine. I want to give a special shout out to Dr. Tim Murphy. You'll hear a little bit more about some of the things that Tim's been involved in. But he was recognized by the president with the UB Medal. Tim, we are incredibly grateful for all of your work. It has been really amazing. And I remember when I first met you, you talked about Buffalo and the city of Buffalo and the things that we can do. And I think with your leadership, we will continue to transform. Again, it's about having an impact and improving the health. And all of us are here for a different reason. We all bring some talent and strength. But when we take everybody in this room and everybody on Zoom, we really can make a difference and combine all the strengths of academic medicine towards really improving the health. What I wanted to do is go through each of the pillars kind of in terms of our areas and refresh and talk about those things. So first and foremost, education. So the Jacobs School is really committed to education across the continuum. So we not only, we go and we teach people in high schools. Dr. Surtees was there in high school this week, right? She teaches them how to extract DNA. We want to create pathways where the students that she interacts with end up seeing themselves at UB in the Jacobs School. And then we want to make a path where they will decide to go to medical school here for those who want, or create a different path into one of our amazing health science schools. That's one of the things I think that we can do best. Having that continuum and bringing new talent and using that to really lean into our commitment to the community is really core to our values. Then we also want to make sure that those people who go and get their MD training particularly decide to stay here in Buffalo, that they see themselves as practicing here. And you'll hear a little bit about the numbers, but my goal, and when I talk to community leaders, is to have more people do their residency here in Buffalo and then stay and practice in Buffalo. Incredibly important. As you're aware, there's still about a 20% predicted shortage. So the medical school is really rocking. We have 169 medical school graduates. The current class size here is 76 in masters, And we have a significant partnership with Roswell. If you haven't heard, we're having a whole symposium that Dr. Jill Cizik is putting on about all the stuff, all the programs we have going on with Roswell. We have 35 PhDs, and again, we have 209 bachelors. Our medical school education, we have a significant number of our students who are coming from out of state. And again, from in-state, what better way to keep them here in Buffalo so that they're practicing here in Buffalo? They come here because of the values. They really are committed. And we have a significant number who are underrepresented or first-gen college students. I think that's incredibly important. I also would be remiss if I didn't make sure that everyone knew about the amazing support that we have for our post-bac program. The post-bac program gets support from the governor through the AMSNY, and that post-bac program has trained over 300 individuals. Most of those students go to medical school. I will just pause on this slide and kind of unpack it for you. This is the U.S. News diversity ranking, and the medical school, the Jacobs School of Medicine, is tied for number 18 among the most diverse medical schools in the country for public institutions. Our overall ranking for all schools is at 29. And you can see from the bar graphs that the number of underrepresented in medicine has significantly increased over time. And this is really due to the amazing work, not only of our admissions program, but also of the work and the connections that we have with UB and we have with other colleges in the region. And this is one of the things that we are really committed to. Here in New York, we're able to really live into our diversity goals, and I think this is one of the things that the university has been known for, and the Jacobs School is particularly known for. So our new curriculum, the curriculum launched new in July. I want to thank Dr. Alan Leslie, Dr. Lisa Jane Jacobson, and Dr. Jennifer Mecca for the curriculum. Huge amounts of work from so many. The curriculum needed to be revamped. It hadn't been touched in a while. And this is what our medical students are looking for. The medical students are here to really they want to be lifelong learners, and they still have to learn the Krebs cycle, I know, but they really want to live into the community, to being lifelong learners, to taking all the tools and being decision makers and leaders. And so our students actually are really doing that, and I'll share with you a little bit more. You can scan this QRS code and you can learn all about the new curriculum, but we also have a video. As one of the first medical schools in the country, founded in 1846, Well Beyond curriculum is really poised to continue the leadership of the Jacobs School.
The Well Beyond curriculum is a deliberate walk in the direction of creating inclusive community.
It's not good enough for us to just talk the talk. It's really important for us to be a part of the solution, to make our community more healthy as we train the next generation of physicians.
To be a great physician, you have to have a lot of knowledge about science, about medicine. If you don't understand a person's background and you don't understand what their struggles may have been, you're not going to be able to use any of your interventions.
When you talk with any of our current clinical providers, any of our physicians, that's what they are constantly talking about, is it takes a team to be successful, and that takes all different people.
We have pharmacy, we have dentistry, we have nursing, we have social work, we have public health. All of these schools together work in an interdisciplinary way to show us how interprofessional education works, how to build teams, how to work across disciplines to provide the best patient care.
We've really created a true medical campus, and the building itself and the structure, there's something tangible about being on a medical campus, that feeling of being at the forefront and being able to work with leading edge technology.
Well Beyond curriculum is helping students develop the skills to understand that medicine is about learning for the rest of their career and the rest of their lives. If we're asking doctors to also be leaders in the community, how are we training them to connect with the community that's beyond the Jacobs four walls?
To be an agent of change, you have to understand what you're trying to change.
We have to look beyond ourselves, but also be future-oriented, that we can't sort of stay stuck in what's happening right now. We have to look beyond.
So can I have a round of applause for the people who put that together? So again, I want to thank Dr. Jacobs and Dr. Leslie and Dr. Mecca for their amazing work. This new curriculum really sets the stage for training the next generation. And as you'll see, it takes a village. Nobody does this without a great team behind us. And we see Dr. Sengupta is here. I'm sure there's many others here in the room. But these individuals who are really our curriculum directors have done an amazing job of getting this up. And our students are very excited. This is going to really set us in good stead as we seek to grow the number of doctors who come and train and stay in Buffalo. I also want to thank all of the coaches. Look how many people who are on this screen. Again, it takes an entire village to do this, and many, many leaders. You can scan the QR code that the amazing Dawn has put in here so that you can learn more about them. But I mean, this is, again, part of the way we're setting the stage to be not only leaders in Western New York, but leaders really in the country. I want to just pause here a little bit. You know, UB would like to grow the number of undergrads, the number of transfers, the number of masters, and we're doing our part. Our number of undergrads are up 12%. That is, in case you haven't heard, there's less 18-year-olds going to school and college. So it's a shout out to John Penapinto and his group and the partnership that he's made with UB and the undergraduate campus. We also will say that the number of transfer students are up 40%. We would like, UB would like to have more transfer students because we have community colleges in the area. And some students go to a community college and then want to transfer. So we're getting transfers into our medical school who are graduating with an undergrad degree in one of the many areas that we have: neuroscience, nuclear medicine, biochemistry. There are many. And then they end up staying. We have 54 entering master's class and 26 PhDs. The residents. We have one of the largest GME programs in the country. And I want to thank Dr. Greg Scheer, who's here somewhere, right in the front, where he's been all year in the front row. Yes, yes. And so our goal, my goal when we have match day is that we hopefully are keeping more than 43. We kept 43 last year, so that they will come and make their home and do their residency here and then stay in Buffalo. Look at the numbers. 53% of new physicians train practice where they train. And so that's a really important piece about taking our welcoming community to our students and then to our residents. Our residents train at 31 clinical sites across Western New York. And look at the production of the residents. My goodness, that's amazing. They're like amazing faculty already. The size of our GME program is 810 plus, and the size of our residencies is here. Our residents are so pleased to work with our faculty. And I just want to thank our faculty for all of your hard work this year. It's not lost that it's been a little bit challenging, but everybody is committed to the quality of education, and we're really committed to making the residents great doctors, and then hopefully they will stay. Beth Smith tells me that she has 23 medical students who want to join her psychiatry residency program, and she only has 6 spots. So that's incredible, absolutely incredible. So as part of our curriculum, all of the students who entered this year, they all work with one of the community organizations, so the CBOs. They all have to work with one of the organizations, and we already have amazing students who are doing that. They're working in community gardens, they're collecting backpacks, but they all are out and about. Some of them I met the other day. They're working with the Western New York Women's Foundation, but they are really showing up and representing us in the community. And the one thing I will say is the community sees that and responds to that, and we're really seen as a partner. We've opened up the doors to this building. Every day, there's many, many community organizations in here working with us. This Saturday, I think we had 2 or 3 different events, and it's really been incredible. We had over 450 people for one of Dr. Henry Louis Taylor's events earlier this year. So thank you to everyone. Now, we're going to talk about research. We've made amazing strides in research, and that's in very much part to all the faculty here. We're really trying to focus on our strengths. So we have an older population here in Western New York, and we need to be able to bring our talents so that they age gracefully and hopefully age in place. We also want to really work on addiction, and I think the Matters program, for example, Josh has been incredible. But we can do more in addiction. Neurosciences is absolutely a strength, and then immunology. All of these things have a health equity component, and we're really leaning into AI. With the Empire AI here, we have a great opportunity to take those resources that are going to be available to UB, with the $475 million commitment through the public-private partnership to really change the way we do research and change the way we address some of the most pressing problems. I wanted to give a shout out to Dr. Jill Cizek, who is down here in the front. So she has created a cadence of symposiums followed by seed funding, followed by follow-up symposiums. And part of this is laying the groundwork. So we are, number one, training the next generation. But number two, we're giving some money so that they can work across different schools and they can be ready to submit for what we call big and complex, large and complex. These are a couple of people who got the AI-driven healthcare initiatives. We had our first AI and healthcare symposium last year. And then this year in this room, just probably 2 months ago, we had an AI symposium with the CMO from Microsoft, Dr. Rue. Dr. Rue sat here in the front row, and he questioned our AI symposium recipients about their projects, and they got to have one-on-one time with them. And then they will be submitting their own externally funded grants. So this is a seed funding opportunity to grow the next generation. Dr. Rue now, as a result of that, is speaking to the SUNY Health Sciences Retreat in Albany on November 20th. So we're deepening that relationship in the AI world with Microsoft as well. Also, we did the same thing with aging. So we had an aging symposium where we had the New York New York Office of Aging. Dr. Greg Olson was here, and then we did seed funding. These are the people who got the seed funding for aging. And again, $250,000 of seed funding funded through the VPHS office. Then they are ready to submit for the next round of funding. Our goal is to make sure that we're not only investing in basic science, but also investing in things like home-based interventions for minority adults. We want to make sure that we're actually developing meaningful research projects that are going to change the trajectory of the health of our patients here. So we've had several major research awards, and we have a lot more out there that we're waiting on. So I want to congratulate Dr. Murphy on the $3.6 million grant. This is a center grant that he prepared for, wrote it, and was ready, waiting for the RFA. really exciting. It's training the next generation of investigators on minority health. Lucy Holmes has a new R01 in peds, and she is actually focusing on asthma and why children get asthma. This is the kind of work that really makes a difference for the people in our community, because we want to keep patients, children, out of the emergency room and out of the hospital and in school. And she's developed a model to keep them in school. Again, these grants were also part of the health equity symposiums that Dr. Cizak put forward. So we are a CTSA. We're part of a 60 consortium funded by the NIH. And this is a foundational grant for medical schools that are really R1 research-intensive institutions. Dr. Murphy and his team, a whole slew of people, worked about this time last year, pretty much day and night, to get this grant in. It's a renewal. We are waiting, fingers crossed, for the results. We have all kinds of good signals that things are going to progress nicely. But this actually puts us in a great position to build clinical trials, train the next generation of investigators, and to build upon our strengths. So thank you, Dr. Murphy. We're waiting, excitement. So we also are focused on giving back. And some of the things that you may have heard of is the CPR training. That's one of the reasons that Dr. Bassan was recognized by the NFL. But we have multiple other ideas, that including Dr. Henry Louis Taylor's work and Josh Lynch's work on opioids. So this is a great example about how the faculty in the medical school are not just taking a problem and doing a research grant and writing it up. We don't stop there. And I think that's the difference here. We go to the community, we invest in the community, and we make a difference in the community. And Josh, I know the work that you've done is now across the states. It's really incredible. And it's one of the things that we're getting recognized around the country, really, is making a difference and making an impact. So we are focused on really supporting people, or as I said, the button towards large research grants. These individuals have received large research grants, and you can see it's in multiple different areas. So for example, Dr. Smith's new research funding, $3 million, is actually focused on individuals with cystic fibrosis. Again, taking things back to the community. So I want to congratulate them and also thank them for their amazing work. So we have a series of slides here that really focus on kind of the research award and the pathway. So if you think about the way research is funded, there's the proposals that get submitted, there's the awards, and then there's the research expenditures. So these are the number of proposals that went in. And if you just can focus a little bit here on the far side, 32% of the UB proposals that went in of all of UB were from the Jacobs School. So the Jacobs School is a major driver of research here at UB. 56% of all the proposals came from the School of Health. So do you recall when Dr. Milling talked in the video about how we have schools? We have 12 decanal units, and 6 of those are in health. Dental, pharmacy, nursing, public health, School of Medicine, and social work. So together, those deans work collaboratively, and we do many dual recruitments. We have a new director of interprofessional education as well. But the health sciences really are a major driver of the strength and the growth at UB. So we have the proposals, awards, and then the expenditures. So the expenditures are how UB counts success, right? And then I just want to give a shout out to the team, Dr. Holterman, Dr. Cizak, everybody who's been involved. We grew the number of research expenditures in the Jacobs School significantly. As you can see, we're about 27 million ahead of the engineering school, and the breakdown is presented here. I also want to thank Dr. Cizek for all of her work in developing these dashboards, which all the chairs have seen. I think they're incredibly important for tracking the successful investigators and where they need help. Also, the fact is that the health sciences here is PCORI. So, when we go out to find research funding, NIH is great. It's great, but they do not necessarily have awards that are as large or as directly relevant to clinical care. So we put a lot of effort into learning on how to submit for PCORI and to actually submit. So we had the PCORI program officer come. UB submitted 22 proposals exceeding $5 million for a total of $263 million. I just want to take a pause that 13 of those proposals came from the schools of health. Right now, there's $29 million of PCORI under review. 2 grants went in September, and there's another one has been funded, and there's another $35 million one going in shortly. So these grants are actually really helping make a difference, and the team has gone and learned about how the grants are packaged, how they're different from NIH, how they're different from industry, and such, made the easy button for the investigators. So you can see here that we're continuing to also grow the number of proposals. And I will say, if we don't submit, we're not going to get funded. And so this growth, I think, is phenomenal. It takes a huge amount of work to put these in, and then we are anticipating there'll be several big successes. This shows the growth of the research expenditures. So you can see already that we've begun to tip the scale in terms of the growth of research expenditures. So please, congratulations to everyone. We want to make this easy for people. We want to make it so that it's fun to do science and that it's impactful. And I think Jennifer said it the best on Saturday morning, that she loves having students in her lab so they get excited about science too. But we also want to be able to bring proposals back to our community that are going to make an impact. It's also a great role model for our students. So speaking of role models, here's a couple of the Team Science awardees that have had amazing publications over the year. I would be remiss if I didn't just make sure that everyone knows that Don Swirly does a newsletter at noon every Thursday. And there's something called shout-outs. So some of you had submitted shout-outs, but please submit more, because that's how we know that you're going to have an incredible publication. And we have several. We just had Kara Kelly had a publication in New England Journal. Those are the things that are shared nationally so that people know the amazing work that's been done. It brings national reputation to the school, to the investigators, and our students see it and our residents see it. And it really is, it's really something I'm incredibly impressed with. So our next symposium is on addiction. And so I'm pleased to announce that we have Dr. Volkal is the director of NIDA, and she's going to be here in person on April 1st. And we will be doing the same thing. We will be setting up, she'll do a keynote, and we'll be setting up the same piece with the addiction seed funding individuals, and really demonstrating for the director at NIH about all the amazing programs that go on here. So it's another chance for us to showcase the Jacobs School and UB on a national level. So put April 1st on your calendar. So I am so pleased to have a representative from Hoffman Woodward here. Thank you for joining us. We are excited that Hoffman Woodward is going to be joining UB. I'm so excited that the president and provost worked on this project with the leaders from Hoffman Woodward. I also want to thank Mike Mikalski and John Panapinto and many others who have worked on the relationship, and we are excited that this will be part of the University at Buffalo. We're still working on a few of the nuts and bolts on how that works, but I think it's going to be transformative for our researchers, and we are very much looking forward to it. I will just quote Larry Tabak, who is the interim director of NIH, and he's a Buffalo grad, and he was here, as I think you know, at the Harrington lecture, and he said, "This is great, and it's about time." So you don't get a better endorsement than that, right? Okay, I want to talk a little bit about UBMD. There's been a huge amount of effort working on UBMD and the clinical programs and bringing the groups together. So first, in case anybody missed it, UBMD has been cited by Buffalo Business First as being the top healthcare company in Buffalo, which by all accounts, nobody submitted anything, and there's no table to buy. And unless Larry did something secretly, John Delacatrata knew nothing about it until it landed and showed up. So congratulations to all the faculty. Congratulations to the leadership of UBMD. Rob, I think that's partly payment for your 7 a.m. Really exciting. So I think there's going to be a piece done in the newspaper in December. So as a reminder, we're really focused on UBMD having shared services, and the chairs are to be congratulated for coming together. We brought on Jim Mills and Rob, Larry. Now Brian Parker has joined us as the CMO of UBMD. But we are living into what we call warmly the big blue ball. The big blue ball is the fact that we have 631 faculty who are members of our school who also take care of our patients in the community. The next biggest group is Buffalo Medical Group at 140, GPPC physicians 139, and Kaleida Health at 72. So when I talk about our medical students, our 610 residents, this is kind of the end point, right, of the continuum of hiring our physicians. And it's a real credit to all of the chairs. When you go into, we have the CEO of ECMC here today, or when you go into many of our hospital partners, it is most likely that you're going to encounter a UB physician that's a member of UBMD. So I want to applaud the group for coming together. I want to applaud the amazing work. We have lots of exciting things that I'm going to share here in a second, but we want more people to train and stay here and practice here. So to do that, we are actually working on the Buffalo Initiative, where we are expanding on our scholarships, where we have committed to scholarship funding specifically for people who are going to be in primary care. Dr. Milling is also going to be working on a 3-year pathway for people who want to get through medical school in 3 years. And he's not here, so I can talk about it more, right? And that they will then commit to being in primary care. And our hope is we'll be able to develop this scholarship with Jeff and the advancement team down here so that we can offer those students a scholarship and a path towards seeing themselves as going to school here, doing primary care here, and staying here and taking care of the patients who are most in need in Western New York. That is one way we're really going to move the needle. We are in a football community here, and what I will say is that all patients need a quarterback. All patients need someone to help them manage the specialists, manage their medicine, manage this. We're moving away through the payment models and others, but the best place for a patient is at home with their family, and they need a primary care physician. And we need to turn out enough primary care physicians so we can really take care of our patients here in Western New York, and so that they can get into getting a doctor and keeping a doctor without calling me and Larry and everyone else. We need an easy front door. So just like we're creating easy buttons for our researchers, we're going to create easy buttons for our patients. So lastly, I really want to talk about community engagement and workforce. So we are really working towards building a more equitable community, and this started way back in 1987. And this is some of the work that Tim has done, but it's gone just here with Igniting Hope, with Beyond the Knife series, with the establishment of the Community Health Equity Research Institute, and most recently with the establishment of the Erie County Office of Health Equity. I had the pleasure of visiting with Tim Kennedy, Congressman Kennedy, today, and he was in on the ground floor with Dr. Murphy and the president when this all started. This puts UB and the Jacobs School really at the forefront of what medical schools are doing in the country. So we are working on building a diverse faculty, and I am pleased to share that we have an increased number of diverse faculty here at the Jacobs School. And these slides show the difference and the increase, although still low and too low on the number of Black faculty. But we are focused on this, and I want to also thank the chairs and all the other leaders here who have really taken up the charge on diversifying our school. Likewise, for our clinical faculty, we have had similar increases, but again, we need to do more. But we want to make sure that our students and our residents have role models so that when they come to the school, they see themselves in the school. They see somebody who says, I see that person who is a PhD or a physician, and you know what, I can be like that person. And I think that'll be incredible, particularly as we get more involved in our local schools. And then these are the number of individuals that are in our practice plans, again, faculty of the Jacobs School. So good progress, more to do, but I think we're going in the right direction. So I do want to reflect on the tragedy that happened at the TOPS, not too far from us. And I wanted to make everyone aware of the work that's gone on with Michigan State and the fact that we will be having our program back here in Buffalo. So originally, the dean at Michigan State and I met at a AAMC meeting, and they had just had the shooting in East Lansing, and we got together and we attended a program by the Northwells Hospital CEO, and we said, well, we need to do something. And so we've been leading the deans and developing. So we had Michigan State students come to Buffalo, and then last year in February, at the first year anniversary of the shooting in East Lansing, we had UB students and other students from other medical schools go to East Lansing. We will be having the program here in June of 2025. We already have committed speakers. Zanetta Everhard is going to speak. Robert Gore, who is a UB grad and is at Downstate and has recently written a book, will be speaking. And so there's more to come on that, but we will have that here in the Jacobs School, and it is designed to really put a bright light on gun violence as a public health issue. So I invite your thoughts. We anticipate there'll probably be about 10 to 15 medical schools involved. We already have commitments of 3 other deans, and we have sponsorship from those deans, the Ohio State, New Mexico, and the AAMC is already committed to sponsor. They've been helping us all along the way. So lastly, I said in the beginning that this was about communities. It's about our local community, the people here in the room and the people on Zoom and all of the many other people who make all this great work happen. It's about our patients in the community, but it's also about our community bigger. So I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to the beautiful artwork that we've gotten. And this is, again, partnership with some of our alumni and donors about ways to make the building brighter, but also reflect our values. So if you haven't gone into the main lobby, there's a new piece of artwork, which is the one over there with the Goldens. So Doctors is, again, about our emphasis not just on diversifying our faculty, but also highlighting women leaders. And so recently we had a wonderful symposium about women's leadership. And I want to give a shout out to Jen Britton and all of the people who established Doctors. It's really focused on advancing women in healthcare. The number of women in medicine is now, again, over 50%. And so we still need more women leaders. We need more deans. I'm the first woman permanent dean here at the school, but we also need more women chairs, and this is one of the many programs that we're doing here. And none of this happens without advancement. And so recently, Dr. Surtees got to be center stage, but we closed on the Buffalo Billion campaign. And the Buffalo Billions turned into 1.3 billion. And UB, the school here, and the amazing advancement team raised, of the 1.3, it was $377 million was raised by the Jacob School. So total of 33% of the UB campaign. So we're leading in research, we're leading in the philanthropic contributions. And so really I want to thank so many of you. There's more work to do. We need more endowed chairs, more scholarships, particularly ones who want to go into primary care. But it's an incredible, incredible accomplishment, and one that everybody here should be very, very proud of. So I think all of the schools, in fact, have dean's councils. Our medical school did not, and so we recently established the Jacob School of Medicine Dean's Council. We had our first meeting about 2 weeks ago up in Levy. We shared with them all of the work that's gone on here at the school. Dr. Cizak spoke and Dr. Murphy spoke, and it was a great opportunity to share with our community leaders all that's going on in the Jacobs School. And so I want to thank Jeremy Jacobs Jr. and Cindy Litro, who volunteered to chair this. But we had great participation by Scott Beeler, Mary Wilson, Clotilde Decker was there. Eric Feldstein from M&T Bank was so excited about the opportunities here. And their takeaway was this: I had no idea that that was all going on. I had no idea that you had this research, that you had so many undergrads, that you had all of these opportunities. And I had no idea there was a big blue ball. So that was really the takeaway, right? They said, you need a brand or you need a tagline. So we're working on that. But I do think right now, transforming health, Henry told me to change, improve to transform, transforming health of Western New York with our community is a great summary of everything that we do here. And so I want to thank them. They will be here about 3 or 4 times a year. They've committed to committees, and they'll commit to philanthropy and advocacy and really getting the word out. So Alumni Relations has been working busily. A Jacob School grad was the chair with his wife Gail, Dr. Alexander, of the Buffalo Billions, and we're really excited about that. And we've had many, many of our distinguished alumni who were already honored. And Lee Gutterman just got the award at the alumni celebration 2 weeks ago. So I'd be remiss if I didn't give a shout out to people who've been here for a while. And I put this list up here so you can appreciate the amazing work. I think many of these names will be familiar to you. I do see Dr. Russo in the audience. We are so appreciative of your many, many years of service and the impact that you've had on UB. And the fact that you, Tom, and so many others put your heart and soul into the school and to living our values and to being role models for our students. There's so many things that everybody here in the room has done to help us achieve these goals. And I just take the opportunity to thank these people for their many years of service. And so in closing, I just want to for the incredible, incredible year. We have a lot of exciting things going on. You can just ask some of the chairs who spend a lot of time in 7 a.m. meetings. But we are here to use all of the tools available to us to improve health. And that is our focus, whether it's Misha's lab or our residents or the medical students or the masters or the undergrads or all of those things. We want to have that all channeled because we're a medical school, and that's what we do is we improve health. So I want to thank everyone for their amazing work. And if you know me very well, you know that I don't leave a meeting without an ask or next step. So this is the next step. we would like you to help us get out the word about all the amazing work that's done here. So Patrick Broadwater and his team, Don Swirly, they spend a lot of time trying to tell everybody about the amazing work here. And I invite you to follow us on any of these platforms. You can also send your accomplishments here to the QR code. I also want to thank this woman here, Don Swirly, does the newsletter. She also did all of the slides. So she's incredible. Make her job easy. Give her things to put in the newsletter. Tell her about your amazing grants. Tell her about your publications. And oh, by the way, please tell her about your publications before it's published so we can do a big press release and make a big deal about it. But I want to just thank everyone here. It's been an amazing year. We've got a lot of excitement going on. Stay tuned. There'll be more. But with that, I want to just close to say that I believe there's refreshments outside. So thank you.